Alright, tonight guys, I'm going to look at this little USB DAC dongle, the Gigabyte Essential USB DAC, hence the ESS, kind of leads you to the fact that it has a little ESS DAC in it. We'll jump right into it. Gigabyte featuring ESS Saber Hi-Fi. Nothing important there. There'll be some more specs on the manual. Be part of the performance portable 32 3D4 premium high fidelity USB Type-C digital analog audio converter. Oh yeah, and there's some specs right there. Already see it's got some very great specs. The technical model of this is the Gigabyte GP Jody, which is kind of cool. I'm not sure why they went with that, but yeah, it's the Jody. And it's obviously Type-C audio DAC. So I think these run right around 70-80 bucks. They're usually under 100 bucks. So you want simple, clean DACage power. Yeah, this is going to be something to look at. Take that off. And oh, the DAC's not in it. Because I didn't think ahead and left it over there. Found it. Here it is. My bad. Was actually using it. Yes, it'll come inside here like this, in this nice little pre-cut foam in there, and then underneath here, all it comes with is a manual. Only thing I don't like is it does not come with a USB-C to USB Type A, which is the standard big one we all know that computers and everything else use. Doesn't come with one of those, so that kind of sucks. You can get a Type-C to Type A adapter for next to nothing on eBay or Amazon, which is what I do when I use this with my PC, because my PC doesn't have Type-C. So yeah, anyway, get this out, we'll get a little closer. We've already looked at the USB-C, nice little flat cable here, gives it a little bit of flexibility, so after you plug it into your phone, you know, it can flop around. It's not, obviously you can't attach this stick to your phone, have that sticking out of your phone. Nice little, what seems to be metal, aluminum metal body, little hole here, I believe. I don't remember if that's the microphone. I think this is a microphone. Nice little textured metal thing here, which is pretty nice. And on this side, it says Gigabyte featuring ESS Saber Hi-Fi. Yeah. And on the back, it's all compliant with everything. GP Jody, high-res audio. This high-res audio doesn't really mean anything. You'll see it on a lot of stuff, even higher-end stuff. All this, I believe this was concocted by JAS or something, Japanese Audio Society or something. It's just a licensing gimmick. Basically, all this means is that the audio device can reproduce 20 hertz to 20 kilohertz. That's it. Basically, the human hearing spectrum. It does not mean it supports 24 bit or any of that. Does not, necessarily mean it's high res or anything. I'm pretty sure that's what it is. You can double check me on it, but that high res audio logo doesn't really mean anything. It's a marketing gimmick, like MQA. But yeah, 3.5 mil jack on the end. It's very small, slim, very tiny. And the way I use this, I mean, I do use it with my phone sometimes, but most of the time my Galaxy S20, they built in, or it doesn't have a built-in DAC, but I usually use like Bluetooth headphones and stuff with that when I'm on the go doing stuff. So I don't always use this with my phone. Sometimes I mostly use this on my computer because I wanted something cheaper. I don't really right now have room for a DAC amp stack, or anything on my desk at the moment. And I kind of like to have a clean desk. I don't like having a lot of things on my desk and a lot of cords everywhere and extra power cables for this and that. So having something like this on my desk to power my headphones well, not on my desk, but plugged into the back of my computer. Type C to Type A adapter, I plug this into the back of my computer, and then I just have an extension cord male to female 3.5 mil that runs up to the top of my desk, and then this just lives behind my PC. And then my soundbar that's connected to my PC gets its audio via HDMI. So depending on what I'm doing, normal stuff, I just in the little Windows speaker icon, you can just click, and Windows 10 allows hot swapping of audio devices, so you can change it anytime, and it should switch over. You don't have to close the program and reopen it. You can pretty much do it on the fly. If you've an avid user of Windows, a lot of times you couldn't do this in past versions of Windows. If you change the audio device, you'd have to close whatever you're doing and reopen it, sometimes even restart the computer. Windows 10, you don't have to do that. So if I'm playing a game or doing something and I want to switch from my sound bar, I can just click the Windows speaker icon, which is HDMI, and then this shows up in there as the Gigabyte Essential, and just select this, put it on my headphones, plug my headphones in, and I'm using this. And then vice versa, do the same thing, take my headphones off, hit the little Windows speaker icon, switch it back to the HDMI for my desktop audio, and it allows me to have a headphone amplifier slash DAC amplifier, whatever, in a very tiny package, and it doesn't take up any space on my desk. It's under $100, and this one, I've tried a few of them, some of the $20 Amazon ones and stuff. They sound pretty good and everything, and some of them do have, I think, Sabre DACs in them and stuff, but this one seems to have more power than a lot of those. On the average, I'm usually using my Koss KPH30s, sometimes my can't talk, ER2 SEs or whatever, the Eddiemotic, and those are lower ohms. The costs are, I think, like 60. I have another set of over ears, my Impow Air 2s. I know they're cheap headphones, but I have them auto EQ'd and all corrected, and even those I think are 64 ohm or something like that. And all those, I do have a set of, I don't have them anymore, but I had a set of 6XS, HD6XXs that I believe those are 300 ohm, and this was able to push them and everything else I run. It's the Koss and my Impows, which I think those are both right around 60 ohm. This has got more than enough power for those. I usually only turn the Windows volume up to maybe 60, 70, and that's just cranking with this. And I do believe, while I'm thinking of it, after you plug it in, I think it will work. Windows will grab a driver, but I do believe there is an actual driver on Gigabyte's website. It doesn't come with it. They just tell you to venture to their website, and you can download the Essential DAC driver for it, and then it pops right up in Windows 10. I have not had any issues with it. Once you have the driver installed, it might actually, for some people, because Windows 10 is just that way, it may go grab the correct driver automatically. Wouldn't surprise me. But as far as getting it to work with Windows 10, not had a problem. And then same thing with your phone. It's like any of these others. You plug it in, it just works. And getting into the specs of it, for something this small, to put out a decent amount of power, and, where's the English? Somewhere. Suppose this is it right here. Yeah. Up to 32-bit 384 PCM data and DSD 128. Very few people run DSD files anymore, but if you do, it can do DSD 128. The 32-bit 384 is a gimmick. A lot of music is made or created, recorded, processed, whatever, in 32-bit for certain reasons. It's not really fidelity, but there's other reasons. But as far as playback, there's almost nothing out there for true 32 384 playback, and it's because there's no one needs 32 bits of dynamic range. Nobody can hear 32 bits of dynamic range. No amplifier or stereo speakers can reproduce 32 bits of dynamic range. That is a ton of decibels. The 384 kilohertz, again, is pointless because half of that is 192. So you would have to have an amplifier and speakers that could go up to 192,000 hertz or 192 kilohertz, which is incredibly high. Obviously, humans cannot hear that high. No instruments go that high. There's just no reason to play back at that high of a sample rate. And even down here, it kind of is where it says this only reproduces up to 40 kilohertz. Because of the Nyquist theorem, that's only going to be able to, I think, would be the highest sampled music would be 88.2, or I think it's 88.2. You almost never see it anymore. Everything's 2496 or 24192. But I think for a while there was a 24-bit 88.2 kilohertz, which Nyquist, you would cut that in half. That would be sampling up to 44,000 hertz. So even if you have 2496, 24192 files, because of the limited nature of the analog only being able to reproduce up to 40 kilohertz, it's not going to be able to reproduce those files anyway. And the fact that the dynamic range is only 118 dB, 24-bit is 144 dB, so already not reaching 24-bit. And the fact that the other thing a lot of people seem to do is once they hook something up like this, they go into Windows and they select 32-bit 384. That does not make all your music 32-bit 384. All that does is tell the DAC that it can decode files up to that. Doesn't mean it's going to upsample them to that. It just tells, that's why a lot of these, if you read the fine print, it will say up to 24-bit or 32-bit. You're just telling the DAC that I have this 32-bit file, I want you to be able to decode it. Now, if you have a DAC that can't do 32-bit, a lot of times you still can, play the file or whatever, but you would be limited to 24-bit or 16-bit, whatever your DAC can handle. So this will, I guess, if you're working with 32-bit files, maybe for producing some music or something, this will allow you to decode and play back them 32-bit files. But it does not mean whatever you're playing, like you're playing YouTube music or Spotify or a CD or something, or you have 32-bit tracks you got from HD tracks or whatever, is not upsampling your stuff to 32-bit. It's just telling you, hey, I need to be able to decode this file. That's that high. Output at 300 ohm is 2 volts, which is quite a bit. And then 1.4 volts at 32. And then, the DAC chip is the ESS Sabre Hi-Fi ES9280C Pro, which is a pretty good chip. Well, it's actually an excellent chip. And then, obviously, the compatibility is there. It's pretty much everything you're going to use. We know where the interface is. Excellent signal-to-noise ratio, negative 131 dB. Excellent. That's more than anyone's going to be able to hear. And it says A-weighted, so it's going to be in that ballpark. I should send this in and have it tested, but other DACs that have run this chip that have been tested fall into this range. So long as Gigabyte didn't screw anything up, these measurements should be pretty close. Even the dynamic range of up to 118 dB. Yeah, that's not 24-bit audio, but 118 dB dynamic noise ratio is really good. CD is really good. A properly recorded, mastered CD is up to 96 decibels of dynamic range, and that can be very, very good. So the fact that this is well beyond CD capability is excellent for something like this. And then your THD plus noise, again, distortion super low, negative 118 dB at full load. So you have your 300 ohm, your Sennheiser is plugged into this thing, and you turn it up to full power, still negative 118 dB. Clean power all the way to the top. And then 32 ohm, negative 109 dB, still super good. Super good. Most people can't tell much beyond I think 70 or 80 dB when it comes to THD plus noise or synad. Once you start getting beyond 70, 80, most people, unless you have a trained ear, you really know what you're looking for, listening for. Most people can't tell, and I believe Harman proved that with their research. And then again, the frequency response, 20 hertz to 40 kilohertz, more than good enough for about anything you're going to listen to. And then the other thing with a lot of 24-bit audio, a lot of 24-bit audio is not real 24-bit. A lot of it is, especially older rock and roll like Pink Floyd and a lot of that stuff, or Beatles, whatever, they're taking analog tape recordings, which tape, even the best tape back then, I think maybe had 70, 80 dB dynamic range. In the frequency, the frequency response was, I still don't think reached 20 kilohertz. It might have been around 16 to 18 kilohertz, even on the best tape back then. So to say they're going to take that and it's 24-bit now, they're just up. They're probably converting it the best they can, and they're upsampling it. And the way I think of it is, it doesn't work out. It might sound a little better, or it might just sound a little different, and you might equate that to better. But it's like taking, a 720p video and upsampling it to 1080p, or having one of those new TVs that can upsample 1080p to 4K. Sharpens it up, cleans it up a little bit, kinda. Arguably it looks better, but you're still taking less data and trying to turn it into more, and it's just not how it works. So, but that's not this thing's fault. The range that this thing's built into, what they did with it, what it is for the money, this is probably the best little USB-C dongle DAC that I have tried so far. It's not very popular. I don't even remember how I came across it, because it doesn't really pop up in Amazon. Unfortunately, like this won't focus. There we go. APOS doesn't carry it. Yeah, it's just not sold a lot of places. Gigabyte is a big company. You know, they make a lot of computer stuff, motherboards, video cards, and stuff like that. So I was kind of surprised to see them jump in this arena. But as soon as I seen that it was a Sabre ESS chip, I'm like, huh. And Gigabyte makes some really good motherboards and video cards. That they obviously I don't know if they actually produce this or not, but if they did, they have the electrical engineers they have are more than capable of producing something like this. Again, I don't know if they actually made this in-house, or if they just delivered some specs they wanted to somebody and had someone else do it. But either way, if you're looking for a small dongle DAC under $100 that has a good quality DAC chip in it, it's going to be able to push decent headphones. I mean, you can't expect tiny things like this to be, keep up with an actual headphone amplifier. This is far more expensive, and yes, it has more power, but you get what you pay for sometimes when it comes to power, and this, for under $100, does really well. And I would highly recommend, if you need a cheap DAC, even if you're running which is also what I do, my actual audio setup is fed from a computer, music PC. If you can't afford a high-end DAC, you just want a small DAC that you can use between your phone and your home system, get that Type-C to Type-A adapter. You can plug this into your laptop and run a headphone jack from this to your stereo. And just make sure when you do that to turn your Windows audio up to 100%. Don't control your volume through Windows. You would run your Windows volume at 100% through this, and then this out to your amplifier, and then control your volume via your amplifier. And that way you get two uses out of it. You can use it as a really good small home hi-fi DAC for your main system, and you can grab it and go and use it with your cell phone if you want, or Android device, whatever. But I think that's going to be it for this little guy. Check it out if you're looking for something like this. If you have any questions about it, put them in the thing down below, in the comments down below. I think I got this off eBay. I think Amazon does have them, but I found it a little cheaper on eBay. I'll look, see if I can put some links down in the bottom. And yeah, that's going to be it. Good night, guys.